Howdy.
real estate franchising than anyone else we know, and you are so good at training agents in their businesses. So anyway, I joined them and we built the Keller Williams University and we started to grow the company and we wrote MREA and then we wrote MREI and then Shift. And of course, we went from 2,000 agents to 72,000 agents, and now we're at 172,000 agents, number one in the world. And that was our vision, to change the real estate industry and to be number one. But our dedication was always to the real estate agent, because we say the business is a local business driven by real estate agents with their relationships and reputation in the local market. By the way, that hasn't changed, which is why you can control your destiny. And we're going to really work on that today. Now, the first thing I want to say to you is I want to help you become a powerful listing agent, because listers last. Listers get control of the market. Listers have all the options in their real estate practice. Mike Ferry, one of my early mentors, said to me, Dave, here's the key to real estate. List a home, tell the world you listed it. Sell the home, tell the world you sold it. List another home. That's the game. And I will tell you, see, when you list a home, you have instant credibility in that neighborhood because your signs, someone's entrusted you with the sale of their home. Then when it sells, your credibility goes up to another level. And so one of the greatest agents I have ever known in Northwest Indiana, I asked her, she was number one in her board for like over 10 years. I said, what's your best marketing technique? And she said, just listed, just sold cards. She said, I list a home, I send out 200 or 300 just listed cards that say, so-and-so has just retained me to handle the listing of their home. If you know of somebody that wants to move to this neighborhood, call me now. So she was searching for buyers. She said that got responses. Then when it sold, she said, I sent out another 200 or 300 cards, just sold cards that said, and get this carefully, you might want to write this down. The sale of any other home impacts the value of yours. If you want to know the value of your home or need to sell it, call me today. It's a great call to action. So not only did you get the credibility of selling it, but you said, you know what? If you need to sell, you need to call me, right? So the sale of any other home impacts the value of yours. If you want to know the value of your home or need to sell it, call me today. That was her cut line. Well, she said, that's just brought me business. More and more people would refer me, call me when they wanted a listing, all that stuff. So becoming a powerful listing agent is big. Number two, you need to be able to articulate your value proposition. One of the things in selling is you need to be able to say in a convincing and powerful way why someone should list with you. And I'm going to teach you how to do that, to be able to articulate value propositions. I remember one of my staff members at Century 21, when I was regional divisional president there, called me after I'd been with Keller Williams, and it was 2003, 2004. And she joined REMAX as an administrative person. And she said, I just went to this big REMAX meeting in Atlanta, and we spent a whole afternoon talking about how to compete with Keller Williams. And one of the things they did was they put your slide up on the screen and they said, this is Dave Jenks. He's the wordsmith of Keller Williams. And he's talking to agents about their value proposition. We better pay attention because that's who we're competing against. So it was very interesting that a lot of what I've been able to accomplish is because I've mastered the art of expressing value propositions. And I want to work on that with you. And that allows you to be the master of the art of influence, how to influence anybody you're in touch with, how to get them to do what you want to do. I just got named by another national company, not in real estate, Master Networks, which is a business-to-business referral company that meets in chapters, and I helped them build their university and helped their founder write his best-selling book, 5+1, The Entrepreneur's Formula for Success. And they named me their first ever person of influence. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that to say to you, you can become a person of influence where people really listen to what you have to say if you'll do what we are going to talk about in this session. And the heart of what we're going to do is build a great listing presentation. I remember going to a big seminar by Mike Ferry, over 2,000 people in the room, Scottsdale, Arizona. And he got up in front of that group and he said, we succeed in real estate based on 3 skills: prospecting, presenting, and closing. Which of those do you believe is the most important? How many think it's prospecting? And, because that's what he teaches. Every hand in the room went up. He went, no, it's not. He said, how many think it's closings, hanging in, not taking no for an answer, answering all their questions, getting them to sign? Yeah, maybe half the hands went up. He went, no. He said, it's presenting, because until you've mastered your listing presentation, you won't prospect. You won't know your value proposition. You won't know how to answer their questions. You won't be confident enough to go ask for business. You must first master your listing presentation. So that's what we're going to do today, because it unlocks everything else. Once you know why list with me, you will be excited about going out and asking for business. I promise you that. Okay. Now, the heart of mastering sales and a sales presentation is scripts and dialogues. And a lot of people misunderstand this. I want you to think of this line: scripts are the poetry of selling. Scripts are the poetry of selling. It's how to say things in the most powerful way. That's what scripts are. In fact, we all love scripts and we don't even really kind of realize it. We binge on Netflix, we go to movies, we love the movies. And what are we watching? Just people delivering scripts that they've memorized. Actors and actresses, that's all they do. There's a screenwriter who's really good with words and really good with conversations and emotional expressions and writes the words. And then the actors and actresses simply repeat those. And by the way, they don't go off those. If they go off, the director will stop them and say, stop, you've just gone off script. I want you to follow the script. Don't try and reinvent this. Do the script as it's written. They're disciplined to do that. And this impacts us emotionally. We get touched by their presentations. Why? They're using powerful words expressed in a powerful way. So use scripts and dialogues. We're going to talk more about that. Just remember, scripts are the poetry of selling. We're going to learn a bunch of them today. Then I want to introduce you to the power of your words. And there's a wonderful book called Words That Sell. Highly recommend it. Get it in, not a digital copy, get it in a hard copy, because it's a resource book written by Richard Bayan, who's a copywriter, and he's taken the 40 or 50 different reasons somebody would work with you, and he's articulated that in 20 or 30 different ways. Plus, he has a whole section on attention getters you can use in your marketing, how to get people's attention and get them to respond to you, or how to present yourself personally, personal presentation. But anyway, get this book. I've had it for over 20 years. I use it. It helps me really get good with my language and to feel the energy of good ways to say things, right? So all of this is so you can gain self-confidence. We play the most competitive sport there is. Real estate is the most competitive entrepreneurial business. There's so many people out there trying to get listings, trying to do business. It is an incredibly competitive sport. And the key to doing it is playing with confidence. Just like if you're watching the Masters or people play in great golf tournaments, the golfers will say, oh yeah, I'm feeling real confident in my putting right now, or my driver doesn't feel as confident as I'd like it to be. It's the competitive games are all a game of confidence. And here's the key. You can't talk yourself into confidence. You can affirm yourself and you can feel a little better. And it's certainly better than talking negative to yourself, but competence leads to confidence. Competence leads to confidence. When you're competent at what you do and your language of how you talk about it, you will be confident. And you, as Mike Ferry said, will go out and ask for business confidently. But you have to build your competence first. We're going to talk about that. And all of this is about giving you control in your career, because if you're a listing agent, you control your career. You control the market. You have billboards out there. You do the just listed, just sold cards. You become the dominant player. People refer business to you. That's the game. You get control over your career. Then you can follow MREA and take it as big as you want, if you can control the listing side. So let's dive in. We're going to deal with 3 things: competence, communication, and then presentation. Competence, communication, and then presentation. So let's dive into competence. Why do people list with us? Because we're competent at what we do. We have knowledge, skills, and attitudes that make us competent. That's why they list with us. It's what we know, it's what we can do, and it's how we are. So in what knowledge do they pay us for? Our knowledge of contracts, finance, and property valuation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm a master of contracts. By the time we get to the end of this transaction, there will be 75, 85 or more pages of legal documents that I will review on your behalf, make sure they're filled out correctly, no mistakes, and you can be confident in signing them and go to closing. Why? Because I'm a master of contracts. So you want to be able to talk like that. And by the way, I had an agent 2 months ago say, Dave, this was so good for me. She said, I am so good with contracts and finance and property evaluation. I'm so good with the details in this business. But I thought when I did a listing presentation, I had to tell them about my testimonials and how much business I'd done and all that stuff. And I realized, no, they just want to know my competence. And so she said, you've just taken my confidence to another level because I really know contracts. Now, many experienced agents say that new agents delegate too much of their financing to the mortgage officer. And certainly we delegate to them the pre-approvals and the underwriting and the applications, but not the knowledge, because your knowledge of financing will help you evaluate offers that come in and also help your buyers get the right financing for their home so they have the best monthly payment they can. So again, competence. Property evaluation in the listing game, this is such a big deal. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm a master of property evaluation. I'm not a licensed appraiser, but I'm better than they are at predicting what a home will sell for. And more important than that, I know how to make a home worth more in the way we stage it and get it ready. So I will get you the highest possible price because I'm a master of property evaluation. Does that sound good to you? Yeah. So you want to be able to say that with confidence, because remember, that's what people want. They want to be able to trust you and they want to know you're competent and you will get them the highest possible price. You will, because you know property. All right, so there's your knowledge, contracts, finance, and property evaluation. Then there's your skills. And we're going to show them, you'll demonstrate to them what a great communicator you are and how well you present. That's why we're mastering it, and how well you can negotiate on their behalf. And then there's attitude, and this is so important. That's why the front end of all the books Gary and Jay and I wrote, all 5 of them actually, include how you think as an MREA or an MREI, what your attitude is, how you think. So here are the 3 ways top listers think. One is they're people of intention. They make things happen. They have goals, they have sub-goals, they have action plans. They have their calendar. They have a 135 and a 411 and accountability. They make things happen, right? They get things done. Now, that's what you'd say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. One of the things you'll find about me is I'm a person of intention. I make things happen. I get things done. I have goals. I have plans. I achieve them. So when I take on the sale of your property, you can count on the fact that I will get it sold at the highest possible price because I'm a person of intention. See, what a great way to present yourself. So be a person of intention. Have goals, have written goals, have plans, have accountability. When you have that, your confidence level goes to another level. Now, here's a big one, assertiveness. Assertiveness. I think everyone can be more assertive than they are. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one of the neat things you'll like about working with me is I'm very assertive. I'm not aggressive. And I don't turn people off. I get along very well with people, but I stand up and speak out. No one's going to take advantage of you. I'm going to protect you all the way to closing. I'm going to make sure we get what we want. Why? Because I'm an assertive person. See, what a great thing to say. Now, by the way, I really do think almost all agents I know could be more assertive. And I don't mean more aggressive. Aggressive is about control and anger driven. No. Assertiveness is about speaking up and getting things done and asking for what you want and expecting to be treated with respect, right? So one of the things reason I share this with you is one of the key moments in my career. I was a district manager in Century 21 in Syracuse, New York, and I wanted to make $18,000 a year, and I wanted to become a regional director, making $150,000 a year. Regional director was a big position in Century 21. So I set that as a goal, but I knew that I had to become more assertive because I knew that I was playing it too cozy. I mattered too much about what other people thought about me. I wanted them to like me, everyone to like me. I wasn't taking the chance to step up and state my opinion and be, direct about that. I needed to be more assertive. Well, I found this neat document called the Assertiveness Bill of Rights. It's a one-page document. I put it right above my desk in front of me and kept reminding myself how to be more assertive and why be more assertive. Well, here's the funny thing that happened. Great story. The gentleman who had been regional director when I was district manager, his name was Marv, got promoted to the international headquarters of Century 21 as executive vice president. And he was replaced by another guy by the name of George. And George was there 3 years as a regional director, and I became director of training. And then he left, was promoted to become the regional director in Atlanta. So the job was open, and I was asked to interview. I actually asked to interview for the job, and they brought me in, and I was sitting there in California across the desk from Marv, and I could tell he was setting me up to let me down. He said, "Dave, I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. It's great. And by the way, we have so many great leaders in Century 21. And I knew right, the next sentence was, "So this won't be your turn, but you'll have your turn later." I could hear that coming. And I went, "Marv, let me stop you right now. I want you to know the man sitting across the desk from you today is not the same man you left 3 years ago. This man is more assertive and take charge. And I know what that region needs. And I will put it in place, and I will make that region rock." And he kind of sort of went back, and he said, "Really, Dave, really? Well, what would you do?" Man, I had my list. There's 10 things, Marv, that would improve that region and make it more profitable. And I ran down, I got the job. But I would not have gotten that job if I hadn't learned to assert myself like I did. So I say to you, and I'll tell you how to get a copy of that Assertiveness Bill of Rights. And in fact, I'll tell you what, if you will write me, dave@kw.com, so just write that address down, Dave, D-A-V-E, @kw.com. And if you send me 3 ahas that you got from this presentation, and we're a long ways from the end yet, so there's a lot more to do, so don't do it right now, but send me your 3 ahas. I will send you all these slides. I will send you my collection of favorite scripts, sales scripts, including lead generation scripts, and I will send you the Assertiveness Bill of Rights, right? All of that if you just write me, but you gotta give me your 3 ahas, so don't do it right now. So assertiveness. And then the final one is commitment. Be a person of commitment. One of the really early pioneers of Keller Williams, a wonderful guy by the name of Tom Caldwell from Denver, Colorado. He was the president of Van Schok Realty, the #1 real estate independent company in Denver. And he went to a meeting in Florida for real estate leaders. And Gary Keller spoke at that. And he said to himself and his wife, "That's the future of real estate." And he went back and resigned the cushy job he had, went down to Austin, bought the Colorado region for Keller Williams, came back in Remax's backyard, built it up, and then sold it eventually for a couple $1 million. And he and his wife traveled the country because traveled the world because he's a history buff. So powerful story. And he said to me one thing I'll never forget. He said, "Dave, the key to success is doing what you say you'll do. The key to success is doing what you say you will do." He said, "So many people say they'll do something and they don't do it. They make promises to the clients and then never follow through on it." He said, "In fact, I keep a commitment list above my to-do list. I've got a to-do list, but my commitment list is anytime I tell someone I'm going to do something, I write it on there. I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to set up an appointment. I'm going to get you that material, whatever it is." He said, "I write that on my commitment list. And I make sure I complete all my commitments before I spend too much time on my to-do list." So he said, keep a commitment list. So by the way, you want to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what you'll find in working with me is I'm a person of commitment. If I say I'm going to do something, you can take it to the bank. Promises made, promises kept. I do what I say because I am a person of commitment. Whew, powerful, powerful. That's what people want. Okay. Competence. All of this, your knowledge, your skills, your attitudes, leads to your competence, and it will increase your confidence and your confidence to be able to go out and ask for business. Now, the second part is communication. And this is an important part. And I learned this in the Dale Carnegie Institute also. Dale Carnegie's wonderful book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, still number in the top 200 of Amazon.com every year, even though they sell tens of thousands of different titles. This book is in the top 200, and it was written 75 years ago. It's still in the top 200. Why? Because it's built on timeless truth. Just same as MREA. MREA, best-selling book in the history of real estate, 1.4 million copies sold. Still number one on Amazon.com today in the real estate category, and it was written 17 years ago. Why? Because it's full of timeless truth. So one recommendation I make is build your life on timeless truth, not on the latest gimmicks. Build your life on timeless truths. So in communication, it's how to win friends and influence people. And Dale Carnegie says there are really three big things to do. First, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain, because the minute you do that, you go into a negative space. It doesn't help relationships, particularly if you're with somebody. And even if they're complaining, don't do it. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. And of course, in your key relationships, like your marriage, my wife and I, we really avoid any criticism, condemnation, or complaining, right, to each other or even with each other. So don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Number two is give honest, sincere appreciation. Perhaps the most powerful script in the world is, thank you. I really appreciate that. Powerful scripts. Give honest, sincere appreciation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you very much for letting me come to your home and work to earn the right to handle the sale of your home. I really appreciate you allowing me to do this. See? What a great thing to do. So give honest, sincere appreciation. Then finally, focus on what others want. Zig Ziglar said, you will get in life what you want in direct proportion to the number of people who you help get what they want. You get what you want by helping others get what they want. So be very focused on what other people want and how you can meet it. And because we're in a service economy, and the more that we help people get what they want, the more we'll get what they want. So there it is, the big three: don't criticize, condemn, or complain, give honest, sincere appreciation, and focus on what others want. And then here's the supportive six in great communication. And great listers are great communicators. Number one, be genuinely interested in other people. Let curiosity drive you, right? That's what Gary Gentry, the agent who closed the first sale in the history of Keller Williams back in 1983, he said, Dave, I can learn more about people in half an hour than anyone else. I let my curiosity guide me. I ask questions. I listen carefully. I ask probing questions. They trust me. I learn more about someone in half an hour than anyone else. So do that. Be genuinely interested in them. Remember, the whole listing presentation, the beginning of it is all about rapport building. It's about them, you getting to know them. You see the home, you talk to them, you're getting to know them. You're being a conversationalist about them. And then when you get down to the listing presentation, it's like a focused 15 or 20 minutes about why list with me. Then it is about you and what you do that's going to benefit them. But at the beginning, it's all about them. So be genuinely interested in other people. Smile. In this age of face masks and all that stuff, we kind of covered up our nonverbal communication, but let your nonverbal energy, your positivity show through. People like to work with positive, upbeat people. Number three, remember people's names. That's the link. The link to them is their name. And don't say this. Do not say, oh, Dave, I'm no good at remembering names. Oh, Dave, I've never been good at remembering names. Dave, I just can't remember names. Don't say that. Why would you give yourself that self-talk? Why would you tell your subconscious that you can't remember names? You can. Everyone struggles with names. So you can say, I'm getting better at remembering names. I'm learning techniques for remembering names, but not that you can't. And by the way, you can. And there's only two things that matter in remembering names. One is capturing it, and the second one is repeating it. So the first thing is you got to get their name. So make sure you write it down physically. Even if it's Jim or Jim Smith or whatever it is, get the whole name down. If you meet somebody, you say, well, just a minute, I want to make sure. Yeah, how do you spell that? Okay, Get their name spelled right. Oh, it's Elizabeth. Do you like Elizabeth or Beth or Liz, Dave or David? You know, how do you like to be? Okay, make sure you know how they like to be addressed. Write it down. And if you didn't get it, if you're in a conversation with someone, you realize you forgot, they gave you your name, but you forgot it, then just say, whoops, I had a little mental glitch. Remind me, what's your name? Mary. Okay, Mary, thank you. Write it down. Then repeat it. Remember, repetition is the mother of memory. Repetition is the mother of skill. So use their name many times. Dave, thank you very much for opening your home and letting me come and earn the right to handle the sale of your home. Let me tell you what I'm going to do, Dave, in the next few minutes. I'm going to ask a whole series of questions, Dave, about you, so I can see how I can help you achieve what you want. How's that sound, Dave? See? Now you would say, well, that's like using his name way too much. No, not in his ears, not in his mind. He'll love that. But then also, that's the way you will remember it. The repetition will allow you to remember names. So get good at remembering names. The challenge is it's two parts of your brain. The right side of your brain is where you build connections and relationship, and you know what somebody's like, and you feel a connection with them. All the labels, their names, where they're from, where they went to school, where they work, all the kids' names, all those labels are on the left side of your brain. So you have to really work to pull those together, right? Your sense of them with all of the labels. So just do it. Just do it. It's really worth it. And then the next one is encourage others to talk about themselves. Remember, this is about them. So ask them questions, encourage them to share a little more about that. And then the next one, talk about their interests, but not yours. Don't me too them. See, some people have this mistaken feeling that if I share a common interest with them, we're going to bond. But that can work the other way. Like if I said, okay, what do you like to do for recreation? Oh, we like to play golf. You like to play golf? Oh my God, I love to play golf. I'm a 5.2 handicap. What's yours? And I'm a member of Oak Hill Country Club. Are you a member of a club? And what courses have you played that you really liked? I got to play Pebble Beach. Isn't that amazing? What have I just done? I've taken the conversation away from them. Now it's all about me, 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 right? It's so easy to do. So don't do me toos. Talk about their interests. Later, you'll talk about your skills and your ability, but this is not about that. So if you have a common interest, say they like movies and you love movies. So you say, hey, what do you like to do for recreation? Oh, we like movies. Wonderful. Yeah, what kind of movies do you really like the most? Yeah. Are there any actors or actresses that you follow? What about directors? Yeah. Are there any movies you've seen recently that you'd recommend that I go see? Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I like movies too. See, that's all. I like movies too. That's all you need to say. But it's about them, not you. No me toos. And then the final one is make them feel important. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for allowing me to be here and earn the right to handle the sale of your home. You know, I know that my job is to please you and get you want because you're the boss. And all the time we work together, I'm going to give you a lot of good recommendations and the best information I have. But in the end, I'm going to do what you want because you're the boss. See, what an empowering thing. So make them feel important. And if they have a job with a significant title or responsibility, you know, honor that. Say, I can't believe you. When did you build your company? You're the owner of that company. How did you get it started? And if they're from the military, thank you for your service. I really appreciate your service. So remember this. Supportive 6, be genuinely interested in other people. Smile, remember people's names, do the repetition, encourage others to talk about themselves, talk about their interests, not yours, no me toos, and then finally make them feel important. So there we go. We've got competence and communication, and now we're pulling it together, and we're going to focus on the listing presentation, and it all begins with scripts and dialogues. Gary Keller says, other agents have sold real estate before us. They've sold it at the highest level. They've learned how to say things with high impact, and they've passed those on to us in the way of scripts. So scripts are the poetry of selling. Scripts are the magic of communication. And the way that you master them is you memorize them exactly the way they are. And then you internalize that. Just like an actress or an actor would do, they memorize it as it's written, because that's the poetry. And then they internalize it and feel the emotional power of it, and then they say it that way, right? That's why you internalize it. So the first thing you do is memorize it, right? And we have to work on our memory thing, saying that, my success in real estate will be in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think of real estate, think of me. There's a great thing to remember. Or Earl Nightingale says that success is the progressive realization of personal, predetermined, worthwhile goals. There's so many wonderful quotes that you can memorize, because one, you'll have them and you can say them, and the other is that you practice your memory. Like as a year ago, as we were coming into COVID, and I was doing a Power Up Pivot Smart seminar all across Keller Williams, I was reminded of the poem "If" by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head while all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself while others doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, not deal in lies, or being hated, not give way to hating, and yet not act too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And it goes on for a couple more verses, and then it finishes with, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the world and anything that's in it. And more than that, life's battle you'll have won. It's a great poem, If. But for me, it was a great exercise in mastering in my memory. And I think memorizing poetry, even once for a family reunion, I memorized Poe's poem, The Raven, right? Once upon a midnight dreary, while I wandered, weak and weary, so it's just, it's kind of fun to do that, to practice your memorization. That's all I'm saying. Use it as practice. But when you're working on scripts and dialogues, the first thing you do is you master getting it. That's what actors and actresses do. They call it speed reading. They fire back and forth their scripts with no emotion or no feeling, just fast, 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 to make sure that they have it down, the words down automatically, right? It's fast. Then they slow it down and they bring up the emotion really over the top, so that they're over emoting, because then they get the feeling of the emotion. And then, of course, when they finally deliver it in front of the camera or on stage, they do it conversationally, but they've done that work to memorize it. So memorize, that's it. And then internalize it. You'll feel the power of it. Customize it, meaning scripts are really chunks of dialogue. They're not long extended things. Just think of this, scripts are really chunks, just little chunks and pieces. And you use them. For example, here's a great one, a customized one to use all the time. Handle the sale of your home. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my job is to handle the sale of your home. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm applying for the job of handling the sale of your home. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one of the things I'll do when I handle the sale of your home. See, it's not list it, market it, sell it. Those are cheap ways, not very powerful ways, but handle the sale of your home is like this fiduciary piece, and it really is more reflective of what you really do. So there's another one, a customized one, handle the sale of your home. And then, of course, you capitalize, meaning if you do this right, you get paid for it, right? So let's dive into the presentation. Now remember, we've done all the rapport building, we've gotten to know them. Now we're down to the crux. This is in that where you really, in that next 20 minutes or so, are going to convince them to list with you. Then there may be work after that if you get the listing, of course, but the 20 minutes is this crucial time of your listing presentation. And you want to set the stage, you want to make the presentation, you want to highlight the key benefits of working with you and your company and how you get the results you do. Then you want to deal with pricing and staging, either as a service you're going to provide or once they've listed with you. I prefer that you don't do pricing and staging until they list with you, because that's one of your key services, and you'll see how I present that. And then, of course, if they have questions about it, explaining the commission. So let's dive in. First script is right here. Pay attention. First script, setting the stage. It's called the 1-minute listing presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. Can I ask them? First, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Okay. 2, are you willing to price it to sell? Okay. And 3, would you like me to handle the sale for you? Great. See, that's it. Now, let me show you why we call it the 1-minute listing presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? First, Do you absolutely have to sell your home? Oh yeah, Dave, we got to be out of here in 6 or 8 weeks. Whew, we got to get it sold. Great. Are you willing to price it to sell? Well, we want to get as much money as we can, but of course, we'll list it for whatever you say we should. Wonderful. And would you like me to handle the sale for you? Oh yeah, Dave, you come so highly recommended. Yeah, we want to list with you. Great. Let's get started. See, I'm done. There's no more listing presentation. I'm done. I got 3 yeses. Okay, let's fill out the paperwork, the listing agreement. Let me look at the market information and agree on a listing strategy, a pricing strategy. Okay, let's talk about staging and getting your home ready. Now we're into the work, right? But the listing presentation has taken less than a minute because you got 3 yeses. So understand the power of this. Now, Dave, we're not always going to get 3 yeses, of course. So let me show you kind of another way it would work. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? Yeah. Do you absolutely have to sell your home? Well, no, Dave, we really like it here. We love this home. We just thought we'd put it on the market, kind of see what it would get. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Are you willing to price it to sell? Well, we need to get at least 800,000 for it, at least 800,000. Okay, wonderful. And would you like me to handle the sale for you? Well, we're interviewing 2 other agents too. Okay, good. Let's get started. So notice I haven't engaged them in any answer to any of those 3 things, but I've registered that. So the first one is their motivation. How motivated are they? If they're only as motivated as they just said, they want to put it on the market to see what it get, I probably won't take the listing. They're not motivated enough. I only want to work with motivated sellers. Now, I may probe that to see if that really is true or whether that's just a first presentation to me. Can't tell. But the answer to the first question tells me their motivation. The answer to the second one tells me their education. If he says he wants to get 800,000, and I know we're going to be lucky in this market to get 680 or 690 for it, then I know I've got an educational issue with them about what the current market conditions are and what the likely price will be. So, but I don't debate it now. I just register that, okay, got to do a little education about pricing. And then the final one is, would you like me to handle it? If they're going to interview 2 other agents, then I'm going to work with a sense of urgency in getting them want to get started with me right now. And then I would say, okay, I'll tell you what, why don't I call those 2 other agents you mentioned? I'll tell them they can bring their buyers to your home, but we've got the listing handled. Okay, would you like me to do that? Yeah, I'd be happy to. See, that's it. So the last one, of course, is commitment. Are they committed to you? So when you open up with these 3 questions, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 questions. Now that gives it that sense of immediacy, by the way, that you've just written them down. This isn't part of a script. You've just written them down. May I ask them? Yeah. Do you absolutely have to sell your home? Okay. 3. Are you willing to price it to sell? Okay. And would you like, no, you bob your head. Would you like me to handle the sale for you? Right? 3 yeses, you're on your way. Master this one. It's powerful, gives you information, puts you in control. Now, in control, you also want to control their attention. Some people, their mind's somewhere else. They're thinking about a shopping list. They're thinking about, homeschooling. They're thinking about something at work. So you have to get them focused on you right now for this 20 minutes, right? So you say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, one of 3 things will happen. 1, you will decide to have me handle the sale for you. Or 2, you will decide not to list with me. Or 3, I will decide not to take the listing. Now, any of those 3 is okay with me. Does that make sense? Whoa, right away, you are in control. One is they know a decision's getting made tonight. Now, you're not going to put it off. It's going to be one of 3 things, and one of which might be that you wouldn't take their listing. Well, Dave, I don't understand. Why wouldn't you take our listing? Well, I'll tell you what, it's not.
Rick, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. So, now the other thing is you want to give a sense of urgency about the time. And as I said, a listing presentation shouldn't take more than about 20, 30 minutes maximum. So you want to get them ready for that. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, which by the way, will only take about 20, maybe 30 minutes, one of three things will happen. One, you will decide to have me handle a sale for you, or you'll decide not to list with me, or I will decide not to take your listing. Any of those three is okay with me. Does that make sense? See, you're now in control. Just want to know that, and you have their expectations right. Now, one final way, you don't use all three of these. You use the one that's appropriate to the situation. I'm teaching you three different ways to set the stage. This is called the safe island. I learned it from Floyd Wickman. He said, when you tell someone else what's going to happen next, you give them a sense of security. You give them a sense of safe island. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you list with me, I will report to you every week on our progress, right? That gives them a safe island. Now, here's the setting the stage for your presentation. Safe island, and it uses a memory technique called stacking. I've used this in my life a lot. Stacking is where you take a set of objects that are easy to visually see and remember and put them in a stack, and that is a trigger for you as to what's going to come next. Like if I'm teaching a Dale Carnegie class, I might have 18 things stacked, and each one is the next section of the class, and I will remember it, and it will help me. Or if I'm teaching a class on scripts and dialogues, I'm standing up there with no notes, no anything, and I have 15 or 16 scripts, and I have objects that I remember those scripts by, that I use to get ready. So it's a memory technique, and let me show you how it works in this case, right? So here's the stack. On the bottom is the letter B followed by the number 4, bright pink, B4. On top of that is a stopwatch, 1 minute long, and you think 1 minute. On top of that are 4 steps coming out of the top of the watch, 4 steps numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. On the top step are a bunch of question marks all bunched together. On top of the question marks is a grocery cart. We call it a shopping basket, a market basket, a shopping cart. We call it a market basket mentally. Market basket with numbers in. On top of the market basket is a jail cell, a window with bars and a prisoner behind it. And we think jail cell, jail cell. And out of the top of the jail cell is a spiral staircase going up, and we think steps, right? So what's on the bottom? B4. Then what? 1 minute, then 4 steps, then question marks, then market basket, then jail cell, then steps. All right, so here's how it goes. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, before I begin, may I take a minute to tell you how I work? Great. Basically, I use a 4-step process. First, I'm going to ask you a series of questions so I can get a clear idea of what you want to accomplish and how I can help. Then I will give you enough market information for you to make a reasonable decision about the price to place on your property. And then I'm going to honestly sell you on the benefits of working with me and my company and how do we get the results we do. And then when you hire me to handle the sale for you, I will tell you step by step all the things I will do to cause your home to sell. How's that sound? We ready to begin? Good, let's dive in. And so there you go. You've set the stage, right? You've done a stack, great memory technique, but you've also they're going to see you as an organized person. You know what you're doing, you're organized, and they're going to be relieved that it's not going to take all evening, right? So setting the stage. Now, here's the heart of being a person of influence. I learned this in the Dale Carnegie Institute. This is what great salespeople do. It's facts, benefits, feelings. Think about that rhythm. Facts, benefits, feelings. Facts, benefits, feelings. Facts, benefits, feelings. Facts are what I do. Benefits are what you get. Feelings are how they feel, right? Facts, what I do for them. Benefits, what they get. Feelings, how they will feel afterwards, right? Facts, benefits, feelings. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as I said, I will give you all the detailed market information so that you can make a really good decision on the price to place on your property, and we can have the satisfaction of knowing we've gotten the highest price possible. Does that sound good? Great. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as I said, there will be 75 or 85 pages of legal documents, legal and financial documents, and I will review them all and make sure they're filled out correctly. No mistakes, no one's taking advantage of you, and then you can have the confidence and the good feeling of being able to sign that and go to closing with that peace of mind. How's that sound? Yeah, good. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, You can ask me a question anytime, but what I'm going to do is set up a regular once or twice a week update for you on exactly where your, how the sale of your home is going, which means you will know exactly where we are and the progress we're making and how we're going along. And you'll have that kind of fact of being respected and listened to, and the satisfaction of knowing how things are going. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. See, so every time you tell them what you're going to do for them, you focus on the benefit they receive and then how it makes them feel, and really get focused on that, how it makes them feel, that they'll have peace of mind and relaxation, or they'll feel respected and listened to. They'll have security, satisfaction, and a good feeling of happiness and joy that they got the highest price possible, right? So this is the heart of a sales presentation right here, of being a person of influence. Focus on facts, benefits, and feelings. Now, pay close attention because we're going to flip the page. This is the heart of a great listing presentation. Watch this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are really 3 reasons to list with me. 1, you can trust me. 2, I will answer all your questions. And 3, I will protect you all the way through closing. Are you ready to get started? Yeah, let's go. That's it, right there. That's the crux. You don't need to give them certificates and testimonials and how many other sales you've done, or, tell stories or anything else. This is what they want. The number one thing they want is to trust you. The number 2 thing they want is to be respected and listened to and have their questions answered. And the 3 is they want you to take care of everything so that they don't have to worry about anything. So these are 3. Master this one. Master this one. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are really 3 fundamental reasons to list with me. 1, you can trust me. 2, I will answer all your questions. And 3, I will protect you all the way through closing. Does that sound good? Yeah. So notice the way I said that. I slowed down. I did it with definition because I am serious about this. I'm not just winging it. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 3 reasons for you to list with me. 1, you can trust me. 2, I'll answer all your questions. And 3, I will protect you all the way through closing. Now, you can expand it if you feel the need to. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 3 reasons to list with me. 1 is you can trust me. I mean, my clients tell me they would trust me with their children and their bank account. So you can trust me. Number 2 is I will answer all your questions. I will take you very seriously. And by the way, I'm a professional. So I know what I know and I know what I don't. And if I know the answer, you'll get it. If I don't know the answer, I've got this world-class company behind me and I will get us the right answer, but I will take you seriously and answer all your questions. And 3, I will protect you all the way through closing. In fact, the 75 or 85 pages of legal documents, I will review those on your behalf. I will negotiate with any other party on your behalf and make sure that we get what we want. And you won't have to hassle to you because I will protect you all the way through closing. So, you can expand it, you can take it, but master this one right here. It's the 3 main reasons to list with you. Powerful, powerful. Now, there are some additional details some people may want, and be ready for it. There's a magical page in MREA, page 95. There's a listing presentation right on page 95. You could make a photocopy of that. You could take it in and you could read it to a prospective seller, and it would be better than 95% of all listing presentations they'll ever get. Why? Because it's going to tell them exactly what you're going to do. The 10 things you're going to do, page 95 of MREA, and on page 151 of MREA are the 14 ways we market your home, and you might add 1 or 2 to that. But those are fundamental. So here's the way I would go. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, by the way, there's 10 important things that I'm going to do to serve you and get your home sold successfully. How much detail would you like me to go into? Oh, Dave, don't worry about the detail. We know you're going to take care of this. Just let us know when we need to know something, but let's get going. Okay, good. Or, there's 10 important things that I do to serve you and get your home sold successfully. How much detail would you like me to go in? Oh, Dave, that'd be great. Tell us what those 10 things are. I've often wondered what real estate agents really do. That would be great. Please do. What are they? And I would go, all right, here are the 10 things really quickly. Number 1 is I'm going to ask you a series of questions, do a thorough needs analysis, get you a sense of your priorities and your plans, and how I can get those done. Number two is I'm going to give you enough market information for us to make an intelligent pricing strategy to get you the most money for your home. And then three, as part of that, I'm going to recommend some repairs and staging that we do that makes your home compete more effectively with the other homes in the market. And then number four, I'm going to develop, I have 14 ways I cause a home to sell. We're going to develop the marketing strategy that's best for your home. And then finally, once we put it on the market, my job is really going to begin when we get our first offer to evaluate it, see if we want to take our home off the market or renegotiate it. Number six, I may negotiate with them, or there may be multiple offers, and I'm going to get us a final contract that meets all your terms and conditions and gets you the highest possible price. And then, as part of that, number seven, there may be some repairs we have to do that the buyers ask for. So I have vendors that can do that. I will get prices for that. I'm never going to do anything without your approval. And then I will coordinate those repairs. And then, as I said, number eight, there's going to be 75, 85 pages of legal and financial documents that I will review in detail, make sure they're accurate, make sure there's no mistakes, no one's taken advantage of you, and they're right, and you can have the confidence to sign those and go to closing. And then, of course, at closing, I'm going to be there to any last minute questions, advice, or resolutions. Now, after closing, I want to be your realtor for life. So I'm going to help you with your move. Oh, by the way, do you have an agent yet where you're buying a home? Because if you don't, I'll get you a great agent there. Then that agent can coordinate with me the purchase of that home and the sale of this one. So would you like me to do that? Be happy to. And by the way, the sale of a home is a tax event. So I'll provide you all the necessary documents to take to your CPA or your tax prep person when you're preparing your taxes next year. How's that sound? Yeah. Any questions? Great. See, so you in a short couple, 3 minutes have really covered the waterfront of all the things you're going to do. It's powerful. It's right there, page 95. Page 95. Now, let's get into some scripts to set you apart from other people. See, we believe that every client needs a fiduciary, an agent who is acting in their behalf against all other parties. And we want to say that to people, but we don't exactly know how to say it. That is, because they don't maybe know the term fiduciary. So we don't use that. But here's a way to say it, and it sets you so apart from other agents. By the way, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to remind you, I am licensed by the state of Illinois to represent you in the sale of your home. And I will always place your interest above the interest of any other party, including my own. I am committed to get you the highest price in the shortest time with a minimum of inconvenience to you. Does that sound good? Yeah. See, that's reminding them of your authority. You are licensed by the state of Illinois, higher authority, not to do real estate and help buy, no, to represent them, make it personal to them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am licensed by the state of Illinois to represent you in the sale of your home. And I will always place your interests above the interests of any other party, including my own. I'm committed to get you the highest price in the shortest time with a minimum of inconvenience to you. See, when you can talk like that and share that little nugget with somebody, it sets you so far above any other agent. Now, Linda McKissick, she said, Dave, you have to learn to say things in powerful ways. So you have to learn how to state the obvious with emotional power. And I'd say, well, Linda, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, here's one I use. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you hire me to handle the sale for you, I will immediately tomorrow morning notify all the other realtors in the area that 1, it's on the market, 2, its best features, and 3, why they should bring their qualified buyers to see it. Would you like me to do that? Oh yeah, Linda, would you do all that for? Oh, that'd be great. See, well, a mediocre agent is going to say, well, we'll put it in the MLS and then we'll put a sign in the yard. Come on, raise it to another level. See, you say, well, everyone's going to put it in the MLS, but no one's going to express it this way. No one's going to tell them what they're really getting for your work of putting it in the MLS. So we, as realtors, we pay for the MLS. We have set up this platform to help buyers and sellers sell and buy homes. We have done that. We've invested in that. So take credit for it. This is what you do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. When you hire me to handle the sale for you, I will immediately, tomorrow morning, notify all the other realtors in the area that one, it's on the market, two, its best features, in other words, I'm going to promote it, and three, why they should bring what? Their qualified buyers to see it. See, when they work with you, they're going to get qualified buyers. What a great way to represent yourself. Master this one. Now, there's another one that I learned from Althea Osborne. Althea was the #1 agent for years and years in Austin, early in the days of Keller Williams. She was #1 compared to any agent. And she had a neat thing she did, and I want to share this as a bonus to you. So she watched these new young tech companies opening up in Austin, and she would find out who the owner was, and she would show up and say, hey, Jim, my name's Althea Osborne. I'm with Keller Williams. By the way, I am so impressed with the company you've launched here. This is very interesting, and I'd like to apply to be on your recruiting team. They go, what do you mean, Althea, my recruiting team? Well, I know you're trying to get technological people and executives to move here and work with you in your company. And when you bring them in for an interview, I'll give them an area tour of Austin, show them what a great place this is to live, have them talk to other people, you know, and then if you decide to hire them, I'll even help them find a home. Isn't that interesting? Her interest, helping them find a home, was at the back end. The front end was helping them recruit. Isn't that interesting? So always remember, how can I serve them that may then lead to them working with me? Now, in this case, she was on their recruiting team, and they would call her after somebody left. They'd say, what do you think of them? Do you think we should hire them? What was your impression of them? Did they have anything to say about us? You know, and then when they moved, so they really did confer with her. Then when the person did move, of course, they bought their home with Althea. And then when they decided to sell, they sold. And when they bought again, so several of them bought up several times. And so she said, now I'm dealing with $1 million properties. And they always ask me, Althea, where do you want to advertise? When are you going to advertise our home? Where are you going to advertise our home? And she said, I have to really get strong with them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or Jim, let's say Jim, we used that before. Jim, let me educate you about how real estate really works. Ads don't sell homes, realtors do. And I'm already investing half of my commission as an incentive for the best agents to bring their qualified buyers to your home. And as your agent, I will never waste your money. And I certainly wouldn't waste my own. Isn't that powerful? See, but you say, Dave, she's just talking about co-broking. Of course she is, but I remember in my early days in the industry that there were brokers who wouldn't co-broke. And the only way you could get to that home was through them. So now our industry has matured, and we generally have co-broking and arrangements, just like we do on the MLS and ethics and all those things we've set up. But still take credit for it, because it is your commission that you've earned, and you are investing half of it to bring the buyer's agent to their home. So take credit for it. But what you want to do is really make it clear that they understand that money isn't smart to invest any money in advertising, right? So let's repeat that. So Jim, let me educate you about how real estate really works. Ads don't sell homes, realtors do. And I'm already investing half of my commission as an incentive for the best real estate agents to bring their qualified buyers to your home. And then here's the kicker. As your agent, I will never waste your money, and I certainly wouldn't waste my own. Isn't that powerful? See, she's saying, whether you think that money is yours or mine, we're not going to waste it. It's powerful, powerful. Learn how to talk like that. Now, the other thing is, talk about the company you're with. I remember in the early days when we were just opening up in different parts of the country, and we taught agents a script. It went like this. They said, well, I'd like to list with you, but I've never heard of this company you're with, this Keller something. Oh yeah, Keller Williams. Let me tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the newest, most innovative, fastest growing real estate company in America, and right here in Illinois. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, they are. So that's what we used to do. But now, of course, we're #1 in the world. So we say, by the way, let me take a second to tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the largest, most innovative, and highly respected real estate company in the world. And then here's the 3-part kicker. And I'm with Keller Williams because at Keller Williams, I'm a partner in the business. I get to share in the profits. I have a say in all the decisions, but more importantly in that, I am empowered to do whatever it takes to best serve you. See, and that's true. At Keller Williams, agents are considered partners in the company, and they can share in the profits through profit share. They have a say through the ALC and all the decisions, and they're always free within the law and ethics to do whatever they want for their client. That's how we view the real estate agent. So make a big deal of that. And I'm with Keller Williams because at Keller Williams, I'm a partner in the business. I get to share in the profits. I have a say in all the decisions. And more important than that, I am empowered to do whatever it takes to best serve you. Be proud of that, by the way. Be proud of that, of what you are in this company. And then let's go to pricing for a second. I'm just going to guide you to chapter 7 and chapter 8 in the book Shift. The book Shift. 7 is about pricing, 8 is about staging. All your scripts and dialogues are there, but I'm going to give you kind of a summary run at it, right? You never argue about price, never. It's no, you're not there. You're there to do what they want, and you're there to educate them, right? So somebody says, I'm in this one we did earlier. Yeah, we need to get 800,000 for it. And you go, absolutely. You know, I'm on your side of the table. My job is to get you the highest possible price that we can get for your home. So we're going to do that. Now, by the way, the market is going to determine what your home sells for and today's current buyers. So I'm going to give you enough information for us to make a really smart pricing strategy and get the most for your home. Because remember, there's really 2 markets out there. There's homes that are on the market, but they're overpriced and they don't look very good. And they're getting very few showings and no offers. Then there's the homes that are in the market. They're priced right, they look good. They're getting not only offers, they're getting multiple offers. So my job as your agent is not just to list your home and put it on the market, it's to make sure that we are in the market, because that allows us to take advantage of the window of opportunity. A lot of people don't understand this. See, we will get our best offer in the first 10 days to 2 weeks that we go on the market. You know why? When we have your home all ready and set to go and staged and ready, and we put it on the market, everyone in the market, all the agents, all the current buyers will look at it. And if we make a bad first impression, if we're overpriced or we have repair issues, they're gone. They'll never come back. They're gone. They already have that sense of who we are. However, if we price it right and stage it right, we will get their attention and we will get our best offer, maybe multiple offers in that first 10 days to 2 weeks. So we want to take advantage of that window of opportunity and not miss it and not make a bad first impression, right? And we certainly don't want to chase the market. Does that make sense? Good. Let's take a look at the numbers. Now, by the way, one of the things I believe in pricing is you don't talk about this before you get the listing. This is one of your services. So Dave, what do you think we'll sell your home for? And you say, you know what? We'll decide on that together. One of the commitments you know from me is we're going to get the highest possible price for you. And we're going to look at the current market information and see, and also the staging of your home so that we get the most money for it. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, but we had this agent that told us they could get us like $1 million. And you go, well, it's interesting. Agents can say a lot of things up front to try and convince you that you're going to get a higher price, but this isn't a bidding war. This isn't a bidding war. The bidding war is out there with the real buyers that are going to actually pay. So you need advice from someone like me to get the right buyers to give the highest possible price for your home. And I tell you, just because an agent says they can get you something, in fact, in some ways, I don't trust that. In some ways, I can't tell you who that specific agent is, but in some ways, I don't trust that because I think they're bidding for your business. And I know you wouldn't base the decision on that kind of bidding, would you? You understand? Because that's what agents do. So understand, to me, I believe pricing is part of your service, and you put it there as part of your service, right? I wouldn't take it any other way. Right? I'm not going to give up a price ahead of time. because we haven't thought through completely and we don't have their commitment. So anyway, that's it. And then finally, about commission. Dave, so Dave, would you cut your commission? Would you do it for less? And I go, hey, first of all, I just want you to know I respect you for asking that, because I know you're trying to get the best value you can for your family and yourself. So I respect that. And then, I just want to say to you, I love this business so much, and I really like you guys. There's sometimes I think I would do it for free, but I don't think my family would appreciate that. So let me tell you how commissions work. Many people don't understand what happens to the commission. So let me explain. By the way, I'm using 6% because that's what's in most people's mind. Please understand, this isn't a recommended anything about what commission you charge. It's always negotiable, always is, has been always. There is no fixed price in the real estate industry. In fact, the national average is about 5.6, 5.7% when you add the buyer side, seller side together. And Keller Williams is about the same, but it's always negotiable and it's always there up front. But I'm using 6% because a lot of people have that as a standard way they think of it, right? So I'm just, for example, just want to be clear. So many people don't understand commissions. Let me explain. Half of it, 3%, goes to the company or agent that brings us a qualified buyer. So in a sense, it's not a commission, it's really a marketing cost. And then of the remaining 3%, 1/3 of it goes to my company, Keller Williams, that the world's greatest real estate company that I'm part of. And another 1/3 of it goes to my business expenses, my technology, my marketing, my staffing. And so that only leaves 1% for me and my family. And I'm sure you would understand it wouldn't be right for me to cut that. Does that make sense? Good, let's get going. By the way, never feel bad about your commission. The commissions we charge in real estate are really fair. There's a lot of expense in getting a home sold. There's an expense in having an MLS. There's expense in having all the regulatory rules and regulations we have that protect buyers and sellers. There's a whole thing about having the ethics we have in this business and having brokers and facilities and ways that we cause things to happen. So just understand that it has, and it's always negotiable, so it's always worked its way to a reasonable price. Do not feel embarrassed about the commission ever. And remember, there are some agents who go in like this. Agent I know in San Antonio. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, before we begin, I want you to know I charge 1% more than the average agent in this area. They charge 5 or 6%. I charge 7%, because I know with my experience and my knowledge of the marketplace, I'm going to get you more money for your home. So I charge 1% more. Is that okay? Oh yeah, Mary, that'd be fine. See, if you assert it, it probably isn't going to be an issue. But anyway, that's up to you. Just giving you the script of the promotion to do it. So let's bring this to a close. Again, if you send me dave@kw.com, dave@kw.com, give me 3 ahas, 3 things that stood out for you in this presentation that you can use, right? You can make any other comments you want about it. I'm okay with that. But I want to know 3 ahas. I'm not going to judge them. This gives me feedback about what you found important, but also it's a way for you. Gary Keller and I believe that ahas are a way you trigger taking action. So this means that it cares enough. You'll go use this. So send me your 3 ahas, and I will send you all these slides. I will send you Dave's favorite scripts, which includes another 10 or so scripts that have to do with lead generation. I will send you the Assertiveness Bill of Rights and that 1-page document, and the Rudyard Kipling poem, just for fun. I'll throw that in. I'll have that to you by Friday, not probably tomorrow, but by Friday. So send that to dave@kw.com. So let me just finish with this. The most powerful sales presentation you will ever make is to yourself. It's called the power of self-talk. And the way I want you to talk to yourself is like this. I am in a skill-based sales profession. This is not easy. This is rocket science. Not many people learn to do it well. 80% of people don't last in this business. I'm going to be one that's not only in the top 20%, but the top 5. And I am doing the work of mastering the skills. I'm like a professional athlete or an actor or a presenter. I work on my skills. I practice them. I practice hard, long, and often. And as I do, it increases my competence and therefore my confidence. And I have a great listing presentation, and I'm confident with it. And others feel that positive energy from me. They can just feel it. and therefore they're sending me, they're listing with me, but they're also sending me referrals. And I'm doing just listed cards, just sold cards, and that's bringing more business. And now I'm starting to do exactly what Gary and Jay and Dave said in the book. I'm thinking big, I'm aiming high, and I'm acting bold. There you go. Rick, why list with me?
Buddy, that was fantastic. I took so many flipping notes, my hand hurt.
That's right. I love it when somebody who is experienced as you is going, but that's also part of why you're so good at what you do, Rick. I think there's a part of us when we get back to that little excited inner child that is going, oh my God, look at this, and curiosity. And, we're making notes of it because we're so interested in it. That is just a great thing that drives learning, don't you think?
Without fail, without fail. And Dave, I can't say there was anything that would separate what you shared with us from 20 years ago to today. It's teaching us how to be professional and teaching us how to be consistent when we're speaking to our clients. It was just dynamic.
Well, that is. And by the way, this is one of the things, and, I am very up with modern technology and social media and marketing and offer response marketing and all that. But I will tell you this, as long as I've been in the real estate game, there's always been this passive marketing thing that sits there that intrigues people and they waste time on it, like social media. And then there's the part of it that matters, like relationship and reputation, and just listed, just sold, and making an effective presentation. And those are the fundamentals, Rick, and they haven't gone away. They're still there. I've been watching to see if technology is going to take over, and it's not. It's still a business where it's local, and people base what they do on either relationships, referrals, or reputation. And that's what I want to encourage agents to do, to really go at the heart of this business.
So, Dave, I do have a follow-up question, and it was a perfect segue into what you just said. So we spoke a lot about communication at the beginning.
Yes.
I have found that the newer generation of agents, rely a lot on texting and different forms of communication. I would love to hear from you. What's your stance? And when you say communicate, phone calls, texting, what's that look like from you?
Personal is always better than impersonal. Okay. So if you're wanting to build relationship, you can't do it with texting and social media. You might be able to get a little bit of reputation depending on what you're saying or what you're promoting, but you won't build relationship. Now, once you have relationship, texting can make things happen faster, right? I'm a believer in texting. I do a lot of texting. But it's always with people I know and have a relationship with, and it's to get things done, or to make, I make a little, comment like love you, or hey, great day, hope it is for you. So there's those kind of little bonding things that you can do. My brother and I text every day, but it's a short little text encouraging each other in our lives, right? It's that kind of thing, and I'm glad we have it. And I'm a big believer in emails. Now, the question to me that you want to ask yourself, if you're going to send like 33 touch, so let's go to the 33 touch. We believe frequency matters, by the way, when it comes to connecting people. And here's the game is one of mind share. The more people that you have in your local area that when they think of real estate, think of you, now you got it, right? That's called mind share. So you want to be, everyone has a realtor slot in their head, just like they have a soft drink slot and a fast food slot and a favorite, actor and actress slot. You want to be in their realtor slot. And so to do that, you are going to communicate with them frequently. And I think it would be a mix, probably, 4 catch-up phone calls a year. How you doing? Just thinking of you. You're on my mind today. How are things going? Any way I can help? Anybody you know that could use my services? Right. I remember going on a golf course with Mike Mendoza, top agent in Keller Williams, and we were in Arizona playing in a tournament. There must have been 7 times in that round where he yelled over to somebody, "Hey, Jim, When are you going to send me some real estate business? Right? It was just automatic. He's always asking for business. Right? And of course, everyone, when they thought of real estate, thought of Mike. So you want to become in any way you can that figure, right? There was a lady, her name was Suzanne Forbes Dicker here in Dallas, upscale agent. She just loved hats. She wore fancy hats. She must have had a billion hats. I don't know how many, right? But she got known as the hat lady, right? I mean, and her picture was on everything with some sort of fancy hat. So anything that you can do that makes you memorable in a positive way and associates you with real estate, it's worth doing. So, but again, fundamentally, the easiest cost-effective way to build your business is call people or knock on doors. I mean, I know with COVID and all that, we've been kind of a little bit backed off from that, but it's starting to open up, you know. So there's nothing better than making that personal contact and saying, you know, I was thinking of you. Now, Linda McKissick, for example, said that the one thing you need to understand in generating business is that you're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. So she said, I just knew, you know, that if I made 100 phone calls in a week, I'd probably end up talking to 30, 32 people. I'd have 5 or 6 appointments and I'd take 2 or 3 listings. So that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of no's, but 2 or 3 listings a week, oh my God, right? That's an amazing launch. So I would say that the key is that the more personal, the better, and the more frequently, the better. And then the third is start to get provocative with your messaging. And, you know, that means talk about real estate, but don't do it in a mundane way. Say, in this market, the agent you list with really matters because it's more than getting your home sold. Call me to find out why, which it is, you know that, right? Anyone can sell a home in this market. The question is, are they going to get you the best price and negotiate the best deal and protect you all the way through closing? Maybe not. Yeah.
I love that.
So I think the final thing is, I think you keep putting out to your database your commitment to service, short form the stories, the people who just bought a home or the people who sold. See, I think a feature that I would send out is called Why It Sold. That's just that, why it sold. And then a home, you know, the following home sold, here's why it sold. And if I was involved in it because they priced it right, because let me tell you what they did with staging. Let me tell you what we did with marketing. I think a little feature called Why It Sold would be a really fun thing that your clientele would like. Yeah.
I love that. Sheila, I think you may have a question. Do you have a question? Okay, you're unmuted. I just wanted to make sure. All right, guys, so I'm going to open it up. We've got about 7 more minutes. Any questions that you guys would like to address to Dave?
Yeah, any questions or ahas? If there's just something that stood out for you that you'd like to say, wow, this was really helpful to me, that's good, because often others will then, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. That would be good. So either a question or an aha, either one.
I kind of have an aha. My name is Ariel, by the way.
Hi, Ariel.
I am primarily a buyer's agent because I just started, so I'm starting on that side. And I do agree that if you hold the listings, you ultimately hold the control of the market. But I feel like everything you said today was speaking directly to me. Like I needed this. I was learning so much on how to be assertive, how to speak with purpose. Yes. And a lot of the scripts that you said, I was already, like, wow, I can definitely say this to a buyer and pretty much get the same result.
That's right. And by the way, Ariel, the page 95 of MREA also has at the bottom the 10 things you do for buyers. And so we believe very much in having a buyer presentation where they enter into a buyer rep agreement with you. We're big believers in buyer rep agreements, right? Because even though, you would let them out of it if something happened, they bought from a builder or something, it's not the legal side, it's that they've made that physical commitment of signing a buyer rep agreement. And so if you look on page 95, there's the 10 things, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Let me tell you for a second, the 10 things I do to get you in the right home at the right price with a minimum of hassle for you, right? And that would be your presentation.
Thank you so much, Dave.
You bet, and go get it. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with getting really good at working with buyers. Althea Osborne, who I said earlier, she loved working with buyers, and she always did in her career. She never wanted to be just a listing agent. And so she built her whole career by working with those techies moving into town. And the first thing she did was help them as a buyer. And then they became her advocate. And now they told the neighbors about how good she was. And so there are probably people that listed with her because of the good work she did for the buyer. Does that make sense?
Total sense.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good. You bet.
All right.
Hey, yeah, go ahead.
Hi,
Go.
my name is Pam. I'm the transaction manager. But first thing,
Hi, Pam. We love you. We love transaction managers.
thank
No, we
you.
love, we those of us in real estate need people who can bring order out of chaos.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for bringing up Floyd because I'm a Sweat Hog graduate myself. Thank you.
Yes.
And the second thing I wanted to ask you was, for sale by owners, what's your kind of out of the box approach to them?
Well, I learned mine from Sherry Puffer, and she's this sweet little Southern lady down in Asheville, North Carolina. And she used what I call the pop-by script. So her whole thing when I was coaching her is she would make 30 new calls a week to for sale by owners. And out of that, she would get 8 or 10 pop buys, of which 6 or 8 would actually turn out. And then she would take 2 or 3 listings, right? And so for her, like a lot of people, 2 or 3 listings a week was a good thing. And what her approach was this, and let me just, I'll do a quick summary of it. Hi, I'm Sherry Puffer with Keller Williams, and I just want to ask, is your home still available for sale? Yes, it is, but we're not going to use a real estate agent. No, I'm not asking that. I'm asking you, are you still wanting to sell your home? Yeah, we are, but we're not going to do it with a real. No, I'm not calling you because I want your listing. I want to help you sell your home. Well, no, but understand, we're not going to list our home. We're going to do it ourselves. No, I get that. I want to help you sell it. My job is to help you sell it. Well, why would you do that? Well, because that's what my profession is. I help people sell their homes. Some people hire me and pay me, and some people don't. I don't care. I just help people sell their homes. What would be a good time for me to pop by, look at your home, and give you some ideas on how to sell it? Well, we're not going to list. No, I understand that. I'm there to just help you get it sold. So what would be a good time? And then she'd get it just for a pop by. She called it a pop by. And then there she'd go through the home and say, okay, what are you thinking about staging? And by the way, are you familiar with the disclosures you have to do as a seller? Just wondering if you do. Here, I've got a copy of the disclosure form that you might need. And then she'll, oh, by the way, it's just one of, and she's got this stack of documents. These other documents you're going to have to get to, but here's the one, she'd do that. And then and by the end of it, 2 or 3 out of 8 would say, all right, Sherry, would you handle the sale for us? And that was the game. And she was sincere. I mean, she really was. She felt her job was to help people sell homes. Yes, she wanted to take listings, but if they didn't want to list, she was still going to help them sell their home.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah. It's nice and quick and easy. It's a very quick.
It's real. See, it's real. What you do is you go real.
Mm-hmm.
You say, it's just like Althea Osborne going, I want to be on your recruiting team.
Right.
And she was sincere. She did give area tours and she did help them decide whether they wanted to hire this person or not, because she was very mature and they really liked her wisdom and her opinion. She earned her way in that way. So a lot of times you earn your way in by offering to do exactly what they want and need and not what you ultimately want or need. And then you'll get it.
Right. Yep. Being authentic. I love that. Thank you so much.
You bet. You bet. You bet. Transactions are my passion. I love that.
I love it. All right,
Love
guys.
what you do. Love what you do, right? Do what you love. Love what you do.
Got that right. Hey, we are at the 3:30 mark, and we want to be respectful for Dave's time as well. So,
Well, Rick, thank you very much, my friend. Enjoyed being here. Remember, everybody, dave@kw.com. Send me your 3 ahas, and I'll send you all those documents plus all the slides that I said I would. And I'll get them. Tomorrow I have another engagement, so I'm not going to be able to do it by then, but because I usually promise one day, but I definitely will get them to you by Friday. Okay.
that's very generous, Dave. We really
All
appreciate
right.
it. Thanks for your time.
Yep. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.